Welcome back, guys. Again, it's Charles Clark, and thank you for tuning in to this video. Thank you for tuning into any of the videos that you watch here. I'm excited to share this with you because I think this stuff's really cool. All right, so moving on from where we picked up last time, we were talking about attractor fields. And on this video, I want to talk a bit more about how do attractor fields exist? How do they even exist? And it really comes back to, or comes down to the basics of atoms and electrons, right? So we know that everything has an atom. Everything in the physical universe is constructed of atoms. They're the Lego blocks of the universe. We know this. This is common. This is 8th grade, science right here. And this picture right here is what we historically think about. Actually, yeah, I'll continue that train of thought. But it's gonna. So this is what we historically picture an atom to look like. We imagine that we've got the protons and the neutrons in the middle, and then the electrons flying around on the outside. What this picture though represents, you see these red lines, that represents the potential path of the electron. We think the electrons are just spinning around the atom. What modern science has taught us, though, is that this is inaccurate. This is an inaccurate picture of the electron flowing around the atom. Instead of the electron flying around in any particular path, what we found, or what has been found, is that the electron, it really kind of functions in more of a cloud of potentiality type of environment, where at any given moment it could be appearing in any one of these spots around the atom, any of them, within like the circumference of possibility of the electron. At any moment of observation, it could appear or disappear. It's unpredictable. It's random. And what has been found is that through observation, period, we affect where the electron is going to appear. And I don't remember the name of this study. Maybe I should look it up. I'll look it up for the next video. But so this is a more accurate way of seeing the electron and how it manifests around the atom. So, okay, all right, cool. What does that mean? Well, atoms are the singular. What happens? Atoms come together to form molecules, and different bonds happen that hold these molecules together, and then depending on how they're arranged, they form different objects, right? So the book, right? This is a book made of molecules, right? The shirt, my backdrop here, the whiteboard, it's all made of different molecules, right? So that's what bonds them to each other. And there's a certain number of electrons that are attached to every single object, right? Because everything's made of molecules. That means that it is reasonable to, and this is verified, that everything that you can come into contact with has its own electric field around it. It has an electrical charge. Everything does. Everything has some type of electric charge to it. They're measurable, and a measurable electric charge. So what does that mean, right? Okay, cool. So everything's got an electric field around it of potentiality of where the electron can go. So that means that everything has a electromagnetic field around it. This affects what is drawn into that electric field and how that can be used. What objects are put into that field, and what state of organization are those objects put into within that field. So if we have a certain number of objects, it's like when you go to a library and there's rows and rows and rows of books. Are there ever rock concerts happening at libraries? No, not really. Anyway, they don't do well if they do. On the outside, this could be looked at as like, well, yeah, why would you have a rock concert around a bunch of books? But it's a venue. It's a venue potential. It's a building. Why is it so different to have a concert at an auditorium, at a bar, versus in a library? All the books bring their own different electromagnetic field. And when you have so many of them, when you have so many stacked together, it creates that type of field. So really, the only thing that you can do when you come into that field is just sit and be still and maybe read whatever you're reading, whatever you're looking up. That's it. And on the flip side, if you try to take a book to a rock concert where there's so much energy happening, there's so much more movement, it's happening so much louder, and it's so much more chaotic, you can't do something that is as mentally engaging as reading a book. You can't. At a rock concert, you're engaging your body. At a library, you're engaging your mind. They're two totally different experiences, obviously. So this affects us all the time. That's a really simple example, but you see it. It's clear as day. Different environments have their own attraction, and we will be drawn to them based on how we're feeling. Sometimes we're going to be drawn to a rock concert. We're going to feel like moving our body and jumping up and down and singing. Sometimes you're going to feel like studying or sitting in a quiet room and reading. And you go to the different rooms for the different types of experiences, right? That's how we're affected. We're affected because based on how we're feeling, we will be drawn to environments that support how we're feeling, that allow us to ride that emotional wave in the appropriate environment. So you see, like, you might start to see some hints of things connecting there, okay? But this comes back to attractor fields. Attractor fields, law of attraction, we're going to draw unto ourselves life in a way that harmonizes with how we feel about life. And then we will be drawn to the environments that support how we're feeling, that support us creating a lifestyle that harmonizes with how we want to feel. Okay, this is going to affect our career choices, this is going to affect our business, this is going to affect everything, right? So that's how we're affected. Okay, so I'm going to bring this one to a close. In the next one, let's see, what are we talking about next? How our emotions influence our thoughts. So what, how do you make a choice? Like how do you come to an idea of what it is that you want to do next based on how you're feeling? We're going to talk about that in the next video. So tune in.